Today is Friday, May 5. I'm Pastor Anthony, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Today our text comes from Philippians 2. Therefore God exalted him, that is Christ, to the highest place, and gave him the name that is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. That's Philippians 2, verses 9 through 11. The gospel message is full of great paradoxical reversals. Kings are thrown down, and the humble are exalted. The rich go hungry, and the poor are lifted up. Those who lose their lives find it. The last become first. And perhaps most glaringly of all, the dead are raised to life. Jesus himself is the paradigm picture of all these great reversals. He is the one who humbled himself to nothing, became poor, and gave up his life unto death. But as Pastor Michael began to suggest yesterday, this was not a transaction or a quid-pro-quo. It was not as if Jesus simply, by virtue of bowing low, would automatically get lifted up. This gets tricky because of our hang-ups with high theology and theological ideas like predestination and God's plan. But these concepts iron out the wrinkles of the biblical story a bit too neatly sometimes. I do not think that the Bible verses pointing to God's perfections intend to cancel out God's responsiveness within the relationships that he has with his people. Jesus, in humbling himself to nothing and submitting his life in trust to the Father, to whom he committed his Spirit, is acting out in real life the faith of the Psalms. The Psalms speak often of entrusting their cause to God. Under threat of death and vast evil, the psalmists give themselves over to the judgment of God, taking no recourse of their own. Take Psalm 26, for example, where the psalmist says, "Vindicate me, Lord, for I have led a blameless life." This language of faith is all over the Psalms. Psalm 7, 17, 24, 54, 69, 135, and any number of others. Job comes to mind as well. I lay my case before the Lord. So as Jesus humbles himself to death, he's not doing it so that God will automatically kick him up to the highest realm. No, as Jesus humbles himself to death, he is entrusting himself to the judgment of the Father. And then all creation holds its breath. Will God respond, or will he remain silent? How will the Father judge Jesus' case? Will the ruling of the Romans and the religious leaders win the day in court? Or will their verdict be reversed by God's higher court? Indeed, the higher court takes the case, and God's justice determines Jesus' innocence. He is vindicated from all charges of wrongdoing. His punishment is reversed, and he is raised to life. But the ruling of God's supreme court goes still further. The kings of earth that had made this unjust ruling against the Son, representative of all unjust rulings, are themselves displaced as rulers, and Jesus, the righteous one, is given their thrones. He is the righteous one, the true king. Not only that, the religious leaders who abuse their positions are deposed from office, and Jesus himself replaces them as the true and perfect high priest who ministers forever. The invitation to submit our cause and our lives in humility before God in the way of Jesus' cross joins our lives to this journey to the courtroom of God, where we submit all our desires for vengeance and control to God, the judge, as Jesus did. Somehow in this act of humbling ourselves, God raises us to the new life of Jesus, whereby we learn new ways of love, trust, forgiveness, and mercy. And so it is that the one who loses their life for his sake does indeed find it. And in this way, we can conduct our relationships with one another in a much deeper and better way that smells like Jesus. As you ponder these things and journey on, go with God's blessing. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever He may send you. May He guide you through the wilderness and protect you through the storm. May He bring you home rejoicing at the wonders He has shown you. And may He bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.